I'm going to explain how figured bass works at the piano. Figured bass is almost like lead sheet reading from the classical period, but it's used for Roman numeral analysis when analyzing classical music. And it essentially works like this. Whenever you have a root position chord, meaning that the bottom note of the chord is actually in the bass, we would just call it a simple Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, in this case in the key of C major. But if we have inversions of those, we need to use figured bass symbols. And all this is doing is showing us the intervals above the bass, thus indicating which inversion we're in. So for example, this would be a 1 chord. If we inverted that, we would say that's a 1-6 chord in figured bass analysis. Now, 3s are ignored, so we're not going to see 6-3, even though that would technically be a more correct way to do it. But by tradition, 3s are ignored, so this would be a 1-6, and then if we inverted it again, this would be a 1-6-4, because we have a 6th above the bass and a 4th above the bass. And it doesn't matter how spread out or intricate the chord is, as long as, in this case, the 3rd of the chord is in the bottom, and then we have a 6, ignore the 3, we would still call that a 1-6. And the same thing with the other chords. This is a 2 chord, 2-6, 2-6-4. And then we have 7th chords, the most common in classical music being the dominant 7th chord. In this case, we would say that's a 5-7, ignoring the 3, and in this case, ignoring the 5, even though there's an understanding that those chord tones will be there. Then the first inversion will be a 5-6-5, again, 6th above the bass, 5th above the bass, ignoring the 3. The next one will be a 5-4-3, so 4th above the bass, 3rd above the bass. In this case, we are kind of violating that rule about the thirds, but I suspect because in this case, it's actually a very important note, the 7th, but we're actually not bothering to talk about the 6th. So we could say it's a 5-6-4-3, but most of the time you'll just see 5-4-3. And then the last one would be a 5-4-2, again, because we have a 4th above the bass and a 2nd above the bass. And that's just the basics to get started. I purposely did this without the visuals just so you could see it on the keyboard and maybe apply it to any of your own studies. Let me know if you have any questions and be sure to subscribe for more tutorials like this.